It's your favorite order selector, Rackman, aka X Keys. Welcome to an episode of At Your Warehouse. Today I will show off some Discord posts, save some lives, but also a 90-day guy needs our help. Dane Ironfoot commented today. He said, "I'm having trouble stacking boxes. I can move fast, but building the stacks is hard for me. Help me. I don't want to quit my job. I'm not a female canine." Well, Dane, you say you can move fast, but is it possible, like a lot of 90-day guys, you're too focused on your speed? See, building comes first. That's number one. Your speed will come when you become a good builder. If you can build good, you will be good. There you go. Well, how do you be good? How do you build good? You have to have a set of rules and guidelines. I'm going to give you some basics. First off, keep to your edges. Nothing's worse than not keeping to your edges. You know, that's the most important thing, I think, other than the next one, which is building a solid base. But let's go back to keeping to your edges. So, what do I mean by that? Well, you don't want something I like to call an upside down Christmas tree, okay? You don't want an upside down Christmas tree. That's what a Christmas tree looks like when it's upside down. It's a triangle, okay? So if you do that, you're going to have a really top-heavy load like so. And it's going to fall over. And if it doesn't fall over, you're going to be like going so slow so it doesn't fall over that you're going to lose a lot of time because you're worried about it swaying and falling over. Okay, so and the other thing is you don't want a Christmas tree either. A Christmas tree is fine, though. It's more stable than an upside down Christmas tree. That's how Christmas trees are supposed to stand. All the weight gets forced to the middle. It kind of holds it in place. But the idea is to get a straight, vertical, rectangular, cubish kind of thing going. All right? How do you keep to your edges? Well, you can sit there and adjust the boxes and try to get them perfectly to the edge. But that is not what professionals do. I don't even have to look to know that my boxes are on their edges. I can feel for it. You grab a box, you hold it, and when you put it on top of another box, the bottom of my palm here touches the bottom layer right below that. It feels it. It senses the other box layer below the box that I just placed. And it stops. Stop. Right there. Here's a box. The box. I'm going to set another box on top of it and whoa, right there. That's where I stop. Now, if it's on the pallet, I'm setting a box on the pallet, I use my shins as a guide. When I place the box down, my shin, here's my shin. I come right here, and I slide the box down the shin-ish. And the shin lines it up with the edge of the pallet, which is also touching the shin. Pallet, box, slide, plop. Okay? That's how I do it. I don't have to look at it. I don't have to readjust it. I just set it and use my feelers. Okay? Use your senses. All right, so next thing. Building a solid base. That's really important. If you have a solid base, it really doesn't matter how badly you stack after that. If you build a solid base, the rest will be pretty decent, you know? You don't have to be scared of it all falling. If anything, you'll lose a couple boxes on top, whatever. But you didn't lose the whole pallet. And you can move a lot faster knowing that you have a solid base. What is the base? The base is about 3 foot up-ish, 3.5, maybe 4 foot, whatever. How do you make a solid base? Well, you cross tie. You can cross tie. You use your more solid boxes on the bottom. The heavier boxes, you want them on the bottom. If you have a lot of them, you can go ahead and build 2 bases if it's for the same store. You can have 2 pallets, or if you're somebody who does 3 pallets, people do that. You can build 3 bases. But if you get your bases knocked out of the way, the rest is just throwing cake. You know, you're not having to try as hard. By getting that base just right, you can take your time, build that good base, and everything else should fall in place. That's a good rhyme. I didn't even mean to do that one. But yeah. So how can you cross tie? Well, I have a few examples right here. All right. Here's some examples of cross tying. We have a submission from Gabe Utzerhot. Yep. This guy's been selecting a long time. As you can tell, he is cross tying. There's a cross tie there. Hold on. There's a cross tie there. See the finger? Cross tie there. And there. And there. And there. And there. Not there. That's a pillar. That's a pillar stack right there on the corner. Back corner. Probably not the best spot for a pillar. But he's cross-tied it right here. So he's only going to lose at most these 3 boxes. He can still fix it by cross-tying up here. And he's layered picked. He's trying to keep it level. See this top part? This is all level. So he can cross-tie again up here. Let's see what we got here. So this looks a little sketch, but he is still cross-tying right there. There's a little pillar action right here, but he's cross-tied it at the top. Where somewhere you got to cross-tie it. Right here in the middle, he didn't do much cross-tying. Maybe he couldn't help it. Down here at the base, he's cross-tied all these soda cans. Cross-tie. There's some cross-ties there. He made a solid base, made a couple pillars, and then cross-tied up here to lock it back together. Back here, he was being friendly to the loaders and making a level pallet so they can stack upon it. When you're new, you're going to forget to do that, and you're going to make a lot of loaders very angry, especially if they're busy. We're not going to show that one. It's nothing bad about it. It just doesn't look pretty, but it's still cross-tied all the way up. Lots of cross ties. Cross, 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 crisscross. All right, here's another one. All right, so this one looks sketchy. Somebody commented, how to flip does that not fall? Here's why. Yes, he's pillared here, but he cross-tied right out. I mean, he didn't really pillar. He just stacked 4 boxes here. Then he cross-tied. Looks like the back of his pallet, maybe the front. I can't tell. But either way, there's a cross-tie there, cross-tie there. He didn't cross-tie right here in the middle like he did his other pallet. He made little pillars. But then he followed up with another cross-tie right there. Cross, cross, crisscross, right here. Crossing, cross, 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 cross. All the way to the top. Even up here, these little boxes, as you can see, are cross-tied. Even this little sliver is a cross-tie. It kind of juts out here. It doesn't matter though. This is the top. It's not important up here. What matters is this little section right here on this one. Now, he could have made a more solid base, but he fixed it by cross-tying right above it. All right? There's ways to cheat. This was done by probably Tim Reviews Everything. He has a terrific YouTube channel. Lots of stuff to learn about stacking. He is a perfectionist when it comes to stacking. He's cross-tied everything. This is heavy stuff here. Like, you're talking lots of weight. That's a lot of liquid up here. And he didn't cross-tie right here. Well, he did right here. He did in that little section. But he cross-tied above it, and he cross-tied this entire base. This base has to be solid in order to support that much weight. All right. It would collapse or fall over. He didn't have to wrap it. He probably could have shipped it off just like this without any wrap. The wrap is just there. Whatever. If you build good enough, you don't need the wrap. It will. I mean, you have to put it there. It's required, but you don't actually need it. If you're building a solid pallet with a solid base, he doesn't have to worry about whether or not this is going to rock when he's taking off because he built such a solid base. This is sketchy. I don't like doing that, but it's at the top. I wouldn't put these creamers at the corners, but he says this is the front of his pallet. So it's less dangerous. If he had these on the back, it would be at danger of rocking, but it's still at the top. I have seen people make an entire base out of these creamers. Do not do that because those creamers will sway when you take off. And even if you throw a pallet on top of it, it's still going to rock below that pallet if you have only creamers like that. I'm talking about these creamers, not box creamers, or even these juices are more stable than these creamers right here. I saw somebody, they did that, put a pallet on 2 layers of creamer, and get all the way down with their order, have 2 really tall pallets, and that back one with the creamer base rocked back and fell over, okay? Right at the very end, right when he's about to wrap it. What does he do? He restacks the creamers, puts the pallet back on the creamers, restacks the entire load, rolls forward, and drops it again. Immediately after. I drove away. I drove as far away from that as I could because I did not want to waste my time helping him pick that up. And he'd been selecting longer than I had, and he just didn't get it. Even if you throw a pallet on top of some garbage, there's still a chance of it falling. Build a solid base. You have to put these creamers on the bottom, put them in the middle. Throw them in the middle. Sprinkle them around. Don't make these your corners on a base. Okay? He knew what he was doing. This guy, he put the boxes on the bottom. He's got them cross-tied. He's got cross ties all over that bottom on all these little ones. But yeah, these right here. Yeah, cross-tied right there. Less cross-tying happening. Sometimes you can't help it with these boxes, but he's cross-tied above it. He's locked it together. There's a cross-tie there. All right. That's enough about that. So there are other ways to build as well. You don't have to build a solid base. You don't have to cross-tie. You can do something called column stacking. And this doesn't always work, especially with a lot of heavy stuff. When you have a lot of heavy items or a lot of little stuff, it's not going to work. It's going to fall over. You need a medium-sized box arrangement, and they need to be fairly light. Usually, Freezer does this kind of stuff, but you build columns. You build 4 columns, basically, and then you can cross-tie in the middle somewhere to help stabilize it, but you don't have to. I see people column stacking all day without cross-tying, just straight columns, and they make a lot of time. However, if you're not careful and you take off too quickly, it's going to fall. It's still a good idea to do a little cross-tying in there, even if you are column stacking, especially on the back, because it's going to tip and fall over. All right. So those are your basics for building. All right. Oh, grouping. You want to group. Grouping like boxes together. That's a good way when you're stacking to help build each layer, so that you have a level spot to build on the next layer. So if you have 2 boxes that are the same and you grouped them together in one of the corners, and then you grouped another 2 that were similar in another corner, each of those corners is going to have another level surface to start with on the next layer. So this is I'm talking about further up in the palette. Now this also works at the bottom, but it's hard to cross tie the whole thing together if you have different height boxes. So the idea of cross tying is getting similar sized boxes together so that you can lay another one on top of it. And grouping is a way to do that. Is if you keep similar sized boxes in their coordinated spots in the four corners of your palette. You have four sections. You can divide it in your mind. Let's see here. There's gonna be a lot of examples. Just look at those, slow it down. That'll help you. Now, if you want to speed up as you go, actually, we're gonna not stop right there. Stop. You needed to develop rules and patterns for what is coming and what you are going to do. So, what do I mean by that? So, if you watch like a lot of the good pullers in your warehouse, which you should, they're going to have things that they're doing that look odd or like it's not something that you normally would do, I guess, if you haven't already done this for a long time. You might see them doing certain groupings, certain boxes they keep together, and certain boxes they only use for the corners, or certain boxes they only use for the base, or certain boxes they throw in the middle. Watch that, see what they're throwing. Where are they putting in their boxes? And then ask them, hey, why did you put that there? All right, because every warehouse is laid out different, and you're going to have to change up your strategy depending on where you're pulling in the warehouse. It's going to be different in produce. It's going to be different in meat. It's going to be different in freezer. You have to adjust accordingly. And knowing what's coming helps you to prepare for it. You're creating a spot for a box coming 5 boxes up there, or the next aisle. You know the next aisle you're getting a lot of whatever. All right. You can prepare for that and create a flat spot that you know is going to fit that. But yeah, having these rules, knowing where your boxes are going is half the battle. Knowing that, and when I grab this box, it goes here. And I put it there every single time. It always goes in this side of the palette. It always goes with this box or something like that. You have a general rule that's slightly adaptable for everything. You create these rules and you create these patterns that you stack in. And that will help you to be quicker because you're going to be instinctively putting the box down and leaving it and not thinking about where does that need to go because you already know and your instinct knows. So you just, boom, you just put it where it goes. All right. And eventually you will get to there. Everybody does. Now there's little things you can do to increase your speed. Grabbing more than one box at a time. You don't just grab one, put it on the pallet. Grab one, put it on the pallet. Grab one, go to the next slot, grab another one. Go to the next slot, grab another one. Now you got 3. Boom, sit them down. Go to the next, roll that jack forward. Keep that jack moving. And then limit how much you're walking. If you don't position your pallet just right, you're going to be too far from the slot when you come to it. And then you got to 2 steps, grab it, 2 steps back, 2 steps, grab it, 2 steps back. You could have just had it closer to there. 1 step, and then you pivot, put it, pivot, put it, pivot, put it. All right, that's the idea. Moving as least amount as possible and still getting the boxes put down and being quick about it. Positioning in the middle of where you need to be at. So you know you're going to pick from that slot, maybe the next one's right behind you, or the other one's over here. Get in the vicinity of where they're all equal distance, basically. Or if you know you're going to grab a lot from one, pull right up next to it and do that pivot. Pivot. You're not pivoting with your... You need to turn your whole body, otherwise you're going to hurt your back. But anyway, limit the amount of movement, but move quickly, if that makes sense. It should. All right, well, I hope this helps. There is a lot on this. You're not going to pick it all up immediately. Nobody does. It takes a long time to really make this job easy. It seems easy just stacking boxes, but there is a strategy to it. There is a way to do it, and there's a way not to do it. And I guarantee you, people in your warehouse have figured out how to do it in your warehouse. You need to find those people and ask them, hey, what are you doing? And how can I do that? All right. What are your strategies? What do you do in this aisle? Okay. It's always going to be different. Everybody's going to have a different strategy, but you can find a strategy that will work for you.